Hi guys, my name is Linda and welcome to Sew and Tell. For all of you newcomers, welcome to the family, and for all of you oldies, thank you for hanging in there. I know it's been a while, but I am finally back, and for this video I made something that was highly requested by all of you, and that's the SNORLAX plushie. He turned out super cute and super plumpy, and I wanted to thank you guys for all of the love and support. So I will be giving him away to one lucky winner. All of the giveaway instructions will be listed in the description box below, but if you want to make him for yourself, the template will also be linked in the description box, so make sure you check that out. And other than that, I hope you guys like this video. Please make sure to give it a thumbs up and leave a comment below. Also subscribe and make sure you click that notification bell so you are notified every time I post a new video. I hope you guys love it as much as I did, and I will see you guys all super soon. I love you. Bye. Things you'll need: the SNORLAX template, 2 yards of green fabric, it could be fleece or something fuzzier, a yard of a cream fleece, a third of a yard of tan fleece, a sheet of black and white felt, scissors, tape, a sewing machine, 10 pounds of poly-fil, a hand sewing needle, and thread. So I'm starting by laying out the sheets to the template, and then I'm taping it together, and after that just cutting out all of the pieces. My template's gonna look a little bit different just because I had to go back in and make some changes for you guys. But here I am labeling the color of the fabric and the amount I need of each. Make sure that when you are cutting anything that says ×2, you fold the fabric in half. That way you can get a mirrored piece of each. So I'm starting with SNORLAX's fingers and toes. Stack 2 pieces together and sew across the top 2 edges, but make sure you leave the bottom one open so you can flip it right side out. If you're having trouble with the point, it really helps to use a little pin or something sharp to pull it out. Once you have all of that done, you can start stuffing. A lot of you guys ask what poly-fil I use, and this is a 10-pound box that I got from Walmart. It was around $18, but I think depending on coupons and sales, sometimes you can find it for a little bit cheaper at Joann. Before you start stuffing, make sure you're pulling apart any of the knots in the poly-fil and get everything in there really good and tight, and then seal it off with the sewing machine. For his feet, you're starting off with 4 pieces of the cream fleece and then 2 pieces of the tan. Start by pinning the tan onto one layer of the cream, and the pinning will help it from shifting around while you're sewing. Take this to the sewing machine and sew as close to the edge as you can. If there's any extra crooked lines or bumps, you can trim it off with a pair of scissors afterwards. To attach the toes, lay it all out and mark 1.25 inches from the center one. That way you know where to put the 2 side ones, and then pin them all towards the center of the foot. When you're sewing, make sure you sew as close to the edge as you can, and after they are all attached, you can lay the backing on top and pin it into place. When you sew this, make sure you leave a 3 to 4 inch opening so that you can flip it right side out. Trim off the extra seam allowance and then stuff it. Once it's as stuffed as you can get it, you can seal off the opening using a ladder stitch, and I'm just going back and forth and pulling the thread tightly so that none of the insides show. For the arms, I'm attaching the fingers the same way I did the toes. Just flip them towards the center of the arm and pin them into place. This time I'm not actually measuring the distance because it's so small, but to match it up on both arms, I just laid the other one on top and pinned them at the exact same spots. Again, sew really close to the edge, and after all of them are attached, you can lay the underarm on top and then sew up that seam. Trim off the seam allowance and then you can stuff it and move on to the body. For the body, you are going to have 4 pieces to start with. Match up the 2 pairs right side to right side and sew up the less curved seam. After you have 2 of those pieces done, match them again right side to right side and then pin around that edge. When you are sewing, make sure you leave a 4-inch opening so that you can flip him right side out. Trim off any of the extra seam and then stuff him. Once Snorlax is as chubby as you want him to be, you can attach the arms. And I'm starting by pinning the arms on into place, making sure that they're even on both sides, because you don't want Snorlax with crooked arms. And then after that, I am just using a hand sewing needle to do a ladder stitch all along the arm and the body. I'm going into the arm and then back down into the body, and then repeating that for the front and back. For his belly, I am just laying the cream fleece on top of his body, but depending on the fabric you're using and how round he is, it might create some bumps across the edging. So pin everything while you're stretching it out at the same time, and then you can go back in with a pair of scissors to trim off any of the extra fabric. And once you are happy with how he looks, you can start by hand sewing his belly on. For this, I am using a back stitch, so I'm going in about 1/2 inch and then going back in 1/4 inch, and then repeating this around his entire belly. So Snorlax's head is going to be really similar to his body. You're going to match up the 2 pairs right side to right side and sew up the center. Once those 2 pieces are done, sandwich them together again right side to right side and sew around that edge. Leave a 4-inch opening so that you can flip him right side out, and then trim off any extra fabric before stuffing. For the ears, sew up the top 2 edges and then flip it right side out. Stuff it, and then to seal off that opening, just use a hand sewing needle while pulling tightly so that all of the insides stay there. Pin the ears onto the head and make sure you're happy with where they're sitting, and then hand sew it on the same way you did the arms. Just make sure you do it on the front side and the back side. For the face, you're going to do the exact same thing you did for the belly. Just stretch the fleece across it and pin it into place, cutting off any extra fabric that you don't want. And once everything is pinned, you can do the back stitch all along that edge. Go back in with a pair of scissors to trim off any of the crooked lines or extra threads. For his eyes and mouth, I'm using the template to cut out the shape, and I like to tape it onto the black felt, that way it doesn't move around while you're cutting. And once you have these pieces all cut out, lay it on top of his head to make sure you like the positioning. And then to sew on the eyes, I am just going around that edge and using small stitches so that it doesn't lift up. For his mouth, sew on the white teeth and then attach it the same way you did the eyes. Once you're done with all of the pieces, you can finally attach this Frankenstein Snorlax. Make sure you pin the legs on before you start sewing so that they are even on both sides. And I'm just using a ladder stitch to go around it 2 to 3 times just to make sure it's secured. For the head, I did the exact same thing, but I used a white thread for the front side and then a darker thread for the back side. That way it's kind of camouflaged in. Once the head is on, he is all done.